Hello, Karen. Thank you for hopping on the soapbox. Happy New Year to you. Hello, Mary. Yay. All right, this is looking good. There's my host. The guest host is on. Mr. Gary Carter Green himself is in a room on the corner. There's always room for you, Karen. All right, guys, I'm excited about today. Exclamation marks, exclamation points, exclamation points. Yay. I gotta tell you guys, I am excited, but I'm apprehensive because, yeesh, I have agreed to put myself on the hot seat. But doing things differently this year based on the lessons that I've learned last year. So starting it. Hello, Moonshante. I tell you, you have the most infectious energy ever. It is. It permeates through your post. You can't beat blue, Gary Green. TV, food, and drink, Gary Green. Woo! I know. Oh boy, I'm going to be exposed, but it's so vital. People are trickling in on here. As I always say, my replay following is so huge, so a lot of people catch me throughout the week, and I get the gist of my feedback from the show all week long, even after that. So I don't always get a huge live audience, but when I do, I'm very appreciative. But yeah, I'm so excited about this. Oh my God, there's Chris Seals. What's up, man? That's my sweetheart right there. He's the whiskey guy. Y'all like brown liquor? I'm going to have to get him on the soapbox so we can talk about what he's got going on there in Austin, Texas. I went to school there. Hook 'em horns. Yeah. Whiskey. Chris, I love you. Alright, guys. I might cut my intro short because we got a lot to get through in this interview. Oh, I don't have to. Wow, welcome to Soapbox Sunday. Happy New Year. I am Jermaine Taylor. So, folks, the second half of the second season of Soapbox Sunday is all about transparency. I gotta tell you, with the year that we have lived through, 2020, it's safe to say that we are exposed. We are uncovered. People know who we are. We know who our neighbors are. And it's not all good and it's not all bad. But I was like, you know what? I want to keep that theme going because I like knowing who I live amongst. I mean, I may not like them after, knowing what's underneath them, knowing what's, the foundation and the substance that hold them together. But at least I'm informed of the choices I can make going forward. So I want to keep that theme going. So I'm starting with me. I have agreed to be the subject of my very first show of 2021. And I'm going to share my story and what has pretty much led me to this very platform, Soapbox Sunday, along as, a bunch of other things that have gone on in my life. I've asked a longtime friend, Gary Carter Green, to pretty much take over the platform and host today's show. So hold on, guys. I'm going to get him on. Whew. We are waiting for you, Gary. I know you're jumping on here. Gary, are you on?
I have me, but I don't have Jermaine. I have me, but I don't have
Oh, everybody can see you, Gary. I can't. Oh, there you go. Hey, what's going on?
I don't know if you guys all caught me singing and dancing while I was waiting for you, but I'm so
I know it kind of took a while for you to jump on here, but whatever. Look at you. Oh my God, folks, let me tell you about this beautiful man right here. His name is Gary Carter Green. Look at him. He's all bubbly. He has been my friend ever since 2004, the year before I even moved here. We've been the greatest of friends. He's a producer that has worked in documentaries, reality TV, game shows. Some of his credits include Amazon, The Giant Beast in the Global Economy. He's worked in game shows. That's how I met him. I've Got a Secret. CBS's Let's Make a Deal. NBC's Hollywood Game Night. But folks, he saved my life as well as Karen's and Mary's and Shanti's and a lot of other people, being the host and moderator of Facebook groups You Can't Beat Blue. I got to tell you, man, to this very day, this very moment, I am so grateful for you and creating that platform because it saved a lot of our lives. I know you all can agree with this. So thank you so much. So folks, without further ado, it is now Soapbox Sunday with Gary Carter Green. Ooh, take it away, Gary. I have no questions here, so it's all for you.
all right, now, just so everyone involved in this is clear, Jermaine has no idea what I'm going to ask him over the course of this interview. No idea. He put no restrictions on me either. So it should be a very interesting adventure for all of us, because I realized, Jermaine, there is so much I don't know about you, but the first question I want to ask you, critical, and I think every single person out there can relate to this question. How much weight did you gain over the holidays, Jermaine?
I don't know if I gained weight over Christmas, but over COVID, I gained about six to 7 pounds. Yeah.
Really? You keep yourself pretty fit. How did you feel about that? Did you freak out?
Well, it was an interesting gain. It wasn't necessarily fat. I had to learn how to not deposit, but work out differently. So I didn't have all the access, to the gyms, of course. So I was working out more at home and in the neighborhood, doing a lot of walking. And I was building a lot more muscle. So my muscle is what led to, my increase in weight, which is fine. But, my body composition changed a little bit. So I'm a little bit more muscular in areas that I hadn't been. So I've been trying to find ways to fight that. But, I'm getting older.
It's
so, yeah.
It's true. I'm the youngest in my family, and everybody older than me would say, when you get older, you'll see it takes a lot more to get the weight off. And for years, I'm like, I'm in my 40s. It still comes right off. And then I hit the next decade, and oh my God, I'm sitting here with my top button unbuttoned right now. It's going to be that way forever. I used to keep my button unbuttoned for other reasons when I was Skyping with guys, but that's not what's going to be happening here.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle, but I'm really, I'm happy with my progress. But like I said, when I see the actual weight, it makes me feel like I'm fat, but I'm not. It's just a lot more muscle, and it's what it is. I'm a short guy, so, I can't look too muscly because I'll look like an action figure.
Well, what did you think is the number one thing that saved you during COVID? Well, because you maintained emotionally fairly well last year. I imagine there's a lot of people in this country and in this world who have not, and it's just by the grace of God. What do you think? What worked best for you to get through COVID and keep your shit together?
Well, it helped to have a roommate. Larry, we chatted a lot. We, interacted. So there was interaction in the house. I'm an essential worker in that I'm a vendor for a major food, cookie and cracker company. I don't want to mention the name because they ain't giving me no money. But so I was able to still go to work, not a lot because the schedule was abbreviated. So I had barely interaction with that. Sometimes I was a little bit more in my head about it because, there are a lot of people in the store sometimes that make me nervous. So I didn't feel completely isolated. The whole online community saved me. I got a chance to reconnect with my brothers in ways that I haven't in years. So the whole technology aspect of it, like so many of us, in this world, that sort of saved me. And then I'm not a terribly spiritual person, but I believe there's something out there. So I leaned into that a little bit more, and I met some really wonderful people that I was able to bounce off of every now and then without getting on their nerves. And I sort of found a routine in that. And It didn't work every day, but it worked for the most part. And then reconnecting with people like you. I'm not trying to like coddle you, but you know, you proved to be vital this year, not just with You Can't Be Blue, but with just as a good friend.
Thank you.
So I just found a way to just, you know, mix it all together, and I got through it. I did. Yeah. Still getting through it.
Really put a lot of people's friendships to the test this year, I would imagine. A lot of people discovered that the people that they thought they knew really well, I guess this includes family, were not the people that they thought they were. It was a way to sort of like cut the fat in your world a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah.
People who don't.
And I developed a really great skincare routine.
Yes. I don't know if you.
I did, because you know, whenever I have issues, troubling issues inside, you know, the slightest provocation will blemish. So I was like, you know what? I am going to devise a Jermaine way of taking care of that skin. And that was one of the things that I was able to devote to. And I feel like I did all right.
Is there something that white people don't comprehend about Black people's skin and the way you have to take care of it? What don't we understand about you?
Well, the first thing is, because we do have a lot of melanin, so it does keep us protected, but it's extremely sensitive. We can get skin cancer too. So, and we mark easily. Like if we get a blemish, we don't even have to touch it, and it will leave a mark, and it will leave somewhat of a pigment that you can see a lot more. So we have highly provocative skin, and a lot of people think that we don't, because, you know, we're so dark, and we, you know, we have a lot more melanin. It protects us from, you know, the sun rays. But it's just the opposite. So, yeah, we have to, like, some of us can't use a lot of oils in our skin because it clogs our pores. That's my case, you know. So it's a very delicate issue. And with Black men, you know, it goes even a step further, because, you know, a lot of us get ingrown hairs. We have to tend to that. So it's a lot more involved than a lot of people know. But I've always, you know, somewhat kind of been attentive to it. But I was like, you know what, in quarantine, I'm really going to devise a way that's going to work for the rest of my days.
Yeah.
Because I want to be pretty for the camera.
Of course. Don't we? I think we're both well preserved. We're doing all right.
We are. We don't look like we're 34 years old. We really don't.
I definitely don't look like I'm 34 years old. What was the, you grew up in Texas. Was it Southern Texas, Northern Texas? What, Houston?
East. Well, my mom and my brothers, they all live in Houston, the southeast part of Texas. But we're originally from Northeast Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We were all born in this city called Greenville, Texas. It's in Hunt County. And I stayed there until about, I guess, 8 years old. Then I moved to Houston with my mom. And then I left and went back to East Texas and moved in with my dad. But it's all eastern parts of Texas, the country.
What was the racial makeup there?
A lot more white people.
A lot of white people?
Yeah, but, you know, we accounted. Depending on where you were, a lot more densely populated with a lot Black people. We tend to have, you know, in all the communities I pretty much lived in up until Houston, there were the tracks. Black people lived on one side, white people lived on the other side. So there were always more white people in the town, but all the Black people lived together, so you never knew that. Yeah.
You're saying, so in your local community, like on your block and in your neighborhood, the percentage of Black people was much higher than if you went into town or the city overall. That sort of evaporated. It sounds like sort of an unspoken segregation in terms of like who lived where. Was it economics primarily that separated people from?
Well, not necessarily, because even Black people that did pretty well in those small towns chose to stay amongst their own. Yeah, a little bit of redlining, Karen. When I lived in Houston, the demographic was a lot more varied. When we first moved there, we lived in a really Black predominantly neighborhood, but when we moved to another part of Houston, it was a little bit more mixed. But for the most part, it was a choice. I don't know if it was out of survival or out of safety, but even the Black people that did well financially, you know, built in that particular community that they had always known and lived in. But it's not to say, but, you know, my aunt Doris, she lived on the other side of town, you know, so it was, you know, I guess it was a case-by-case thing, but for the most part, Black people lived on one side, and these are small towns, and, you know, you had the white people on the other side. Now, in the Dallas area where we live now, my family is now, it's all mixed. It's just, we've arrived.
Was there tension growing up between Black people and white people that you ever either experienced personally or witnessed or were aware of?
Not until I moved, not until I got older that I was aware of. Like I said, I lived in Houston, then I moved back to East Texas, Northeast Texas with my dad. And coming into my own as a teenager, being more aware of the world, period, you saw the inequalities, the differences, the two different class systems that were very much on display.
Were there any example, like what kind of things did you notice, did you see that indicated to you there was a separateness between people of your skin color and people of another skin color?
I don't know if there was anything. It was just the treatment, the expectations of us. We weren't, how can I put this without making them seem so bad, because they were really good people. When we were exceptional, it was very obvious that they were like, oh my God, he's exceptional and he's Black. You know what I'm saying? So it was things like that. When we played sports, it was all a playing field because that was expected. But it was always, I always noticed it when I did, you know, great things and things that weren't pretty much the norm for a Black kid. It was like, oh my God, he's good and he's Black. You know, so that's when I noticed it. It wasn't like I was ever denied a seat at the counter to eat, things like that. It was just when I went above and beyond, my race was always tagged on to it because it made it a lot more even, you know, noticeable. So that's when I started to notice, you know, in the world, like I said, wait a minute, I'm playing catch up and didn't even know that I was. But I had always heard about things, you know, but I was never a victim of it myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, we had, growing up, I went to the same school from 1st to 8th grade, and we had one Black person in the class.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all the way through. She was just the one Black person in the class. My exposure to people of different colors was minimal. But were you in a more mixed school?
Yeah, it was, for the most part, I mean, more white than Black. And I was just an anomaly, period. When I, especially when I got to middle school and high school, I wanted to do things that were not the norm, period. And this was like in the early 90s. I wanted to join the cheerleading squad, be the mascot, do a lot more theater, you know, stuff like that, learn how to tumble. And it just wasn't expected that I would do those things. So I pushed a lot of buttons at the same time. So a lot of it was just Jermaine being Jermaine on top of being a Black kid, dealing with the fact that he knew that he was gay.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. You know, I guess we should mention that. Who was the first person you came out to as gay?
I don't know if I ever came out. It was just always understood.
In the family as well as in your circle of friends? Yeah,
it was understood, but understood hope with the expectation that it would simmer off and I would ultimately become a hetero man. You know, I always put it that
people just seem to think that, oh, it's a phase. Who would go through a phase of being gay if you were actually straight? It just makes zero sense to me. But
it helps people to digest it, you know, especially a lot of Christians. They feel like, you know, that's how they pretty much take it down and that's how they get through it. Because, you know, we're ultimately going to the place to where the person surrenders, you know, and they'll be like, oh, okay. But, yeah, it's just, that's just the way my family processed it. And, you know, even the older ones to this very day, sometimes I'll hear, are you married yet? And I'm thinking, wow, you are just lockstep holding on to it, aren't you? But I always lived in fear of being shamed. I wasn't ever ashamed of who I was, but it was always the fear of being shamed. So I would always have these conversations in my head before I would have the conversations with people because I was very aware of my thoughts and didn't want to come across or say anything that would bring a lot more attention to something that I knew that they would make me feel bad for. So that was just, it was a lot of mind acrobatics that I went through that I didn't even know that I was doing as a kid. I'm sure you can relate to that too. thinking about the words you're going to say, how you're going to respond to things. I was very loose with some of my wrist movements and joints, So sometimes I would catch myself, So it was just a lot of things in my head that I would have to somewhat censor myself. And and to this day, it causes me a lot of anxiety because I feel like I've missed out on a lot of time, not being present. But, it's what it was. And I got through it and I'm made better for it. Yeah. You're kind of circling out a little bit, but I think you'll settle here in a minute. We had this problem the last time. I don't know if it's because you're in Portland or what, but it'll circle back out. You're still circling. All right, so let me throw you back on here. Okay, hold on. So I know we're both blurred and frozen. Hold on, I'm going to get him back on here, guys. All right. And we're waiting on Gary again. We had this issue the last time we went live. I think it's just because maybe where he is. Are you in the sticks, Gary, or what? But you're getting back on, so it'll be on shortly. Woo! Thank you, Moon Shanty. Thank you so much. I'm really appreciating this. You'll be on soon, Gary. And we were in thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate that. I wanted to do this to get the second half of my second season really going. So, hey, Quincy, what's up? I'm having some technical issues with my host, so he sent me another request. I might have to, oh, wow. So, Gary, you haven't joined again. Oh, let's see here. Huh. All right, let's try it again. One more time. Oh, you can't beat Blue. Oh, that's no problem, Mary. It's just the way things are, the way things was, and I get it. But there you go. Yay! You know what has also settled me? Back before when I first started this, I would have lost my shit. And now it's par for the course.
That's called vamping, my friend, and you do it exceptionally well. I think the questions that I was asking were just a little too hot for Instagram. And no, I do not live in the sticks, by the way. I live in downtown Portland, but half the city is still burning if you talk to Republicans. So they're probably going, that's what happens when you live in Portland. You don't get internet connections. Everything's burning to the ground.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to get to it. I want to know about the very first guy you fell in love with.
Oh my God. You know what's really telling? I've only had one relationship ever in my entire life. And that was only one. And that was because I've been so laser focused on trying to make something of myself. And that's when I lived in New York. We met my first year there. And I just fell head over heels. I chased him. He wasn't even into me. And then I sort of whittled him down. I was a lot more young and supple, and I had all this energy.
Supple?
And he was a little older, so he didn't mind having his arm candy on him. And but when I realized that I needed to do bigger things in life, I couldn't have him around anymore. I just broke away free. And it was a really bad breakup. And I was like, God, I can't go through that again. But it's telling because the year that I broke up with him, I've Got a Secret. So I kind of knew that I needed to free myself from that chain. Isn't that something? It was just weird how I was so intuitive because I was like, there's something out there bigger, but I'm being held down because I'm being, tended to something that's kind of taking my time from my focus. But
You don't want to
And
let
we don't
that
even
supple
see
skin
it.
go to waste with one guy when you could be sharing it with all of the television world.
I don't know. When I got to LA, it's just a different beast out here. It is, and you can
I wouldn't
attest to it. No, it is. LA is really different. It's just hard to keep up, so I would just rather not at the moment.
Oh, that well, that kind of makes me a little sad.
Well, not really. It shouldn't. There are people that I am entertained by, if you will.
No, no, I'm going to vamp for a while until you catch up with me. I think it's you. I
All
feel
right.
you have so much to give as a person. You should be in a loving relationship with somebody who can enjoy everything that you have to offer.
Well, one of these days I want to, and I think about it a lot more now, especially during quarantine. But it's not off the table. It's just right now I'm still trying to navigate through this particular stage. But I do see my mind shifting. There is a shifting going on. So yeah, it'll happen. And this is
When
that
did you
pivot we talked about.
know you 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 do have this. You were born to be an entertainer, by the way. I mean, certainly, if you're going to be in a relationship, you are going to be the star of the relationship, and the other person's going to have to be. This is often the case. You have like the person, and then the other person works because they are a supporter of the individual. That's just their nature.
Yeah.
When you know that you wanted to be an entertainer and that you had a personality that was sort of predetermined to be shared with the world. I mean, clearly, you're such an introvert. I don't know how you do it.
I discovered that about myself when I was growing up. It's funny how I wanted to be the star of the room before I even knew that I wanted to be the star of the room. Um, when I would see people on television, it wasn't far-fetched to me. I was like, you know what, those are real people. A lot of people would see things on the other side of the tube and be like, oh my God, that's a different world. And I never thought it to be that way. I thought, we were pretty much one and the same. And you are spinning again, and you're spinning again, and you're spinning again.
Just keep going. I'm going to be back. Keep talking.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but that's for the most part. I've always thought myself to be larger than life. I've always identified with people that I felt like had bigger things and bigger platforms to say. Yeah, that's just pretty much always been my story and who I've always wanted to be, even before I even knew it. Yeah. Woo, Gary, the universe is like saying, wait a minute, you guys are talking way too much. Can you hear me still? All right. Boy, you can't beat blue is one of those things. I think it's just between, because I don't have these issues. Okay, let's try one more time. Woo! All right. Well, we're going to piece this interview together. Damn it. It's going to happen one way or the other. What's up, Chris Salone? I see you. Thank you for jumping on the soapbox. It's all about Jermaine Taylor today. I met you in Austin as well. Good friend of mine. I'm so glad you and I have reconnected. I'm having some technical issues with You Can't Beat Blue, my friend Gary. But it's all good in the hood. Perhaps TV, food, and drink might make a better connection, Gary. I don't know. I don't know. We'll try this. We'll keep doing it until the interview is over because I don't have a problem with this. I'm totally fine. All right, let me just take you off again and just add you back on one more time. Oh, you're not on there. All right, so I'll cancel. Send me the request again, Gary. What about TV, food, and drink? You think TV, food, and drink might be a better connection? I don't know. Yay. All right, let's try TV, food, and drink. Now watch this be the ticket that actually works it out, and we'll have to remember this going forward, that TV, food, and drink is actually the one that's going to have the stronger connection. But then it may not. Again, you don't want to claim it, but you might live in the sticks. What's going on, Mr. Vince? Gary's having connection issues. It's not me this time, it's them. So don't think I worked my stuff out a long time ago. So let's see here. All right. Uh-oh. Waiting for TV, food, and drink. Let's see here. Hold on. Uh-oh, I think you sent me a text message. Okie dokie. Oh, no, that's not you. That's somebody else trying to get at me. All right. Let's try it again. I'll take you off. Okay. TV, food, and drinks. Let's see here. It's all about transparency today on the soapbox, and I'm starting with myself as the very first subject of my own platform for the year 2020. So it's not, I mean, I'm comfortable with it, but the show was designed, to put spotlights on other people. But because I wanted to be so transparent this year, and I want all my guests to be transparent, I thought I would start with me. And that's what this particular show is all about, starting being my own best example of the things that I want to see out in the world and on this particular show. So that's it, 2021, yay. All right, so let's try. I think this is Gary trying to get to me. I wonder what's going on here. He's still trying. All right, try, we may have to stop this one and start all over again because for some reason, send me another one with You Can't Beat Blue and see if that tries. Yeah. God, we talk so good. Wanted to know who my influences were when I decided to become an actor. Wow. So I guess I'll start talking about that. You're so good, Gary. You give me questions on the phone, I can keep talking. So when I decided to become an actor, my influences, let me try you real quick because while you're connecting, people really can't hear me. So we're waiting on You Can't Beat Blue. He should be popping up at any moment now. Oh, thank you so much, Karen. Hey, I know that's true, Mary. He may need to do his phone because I don't even. Are you on your phone or your laptop, Gary? Because oftentimes laptops and tablets, they do have issues. So you might need to switch devices. Yeah. Oh, they can hear me. All right, we're waiting. Yeah, we may have to start all over, which is totally fine with me because I can piece this together because I'm sending my questions in this way. All right, so he said my influences were as an actor. My favorite actor to this date is Don Cheadle, but growing up, I really enjoyed the likes of, and you guys might know him, he's an older African-American actor, and he wasn't really an actor. He was more of a personality. His name is Nipsey Russell. For some reason, I know, thank you so much, Mary. Growing up, he would always be on television. He played the Tin Man in The Wiz, and that's when I discovered this man. His name is Nipsey Russell. And he just always had this very flair about it. This flair that was just so funny. He wasn't overly masculine, but he was funny just enough. And I didn't see him in very many roles, but I saw more as a TV personality. And I felt like he was akin to what I wanted to do in life. He was known for being himself, but he had roles that he played that were pretty much left apart on, the fabric of Americana. His name is Nipsey Russell. Look him up. He was in The Wiz. He was in Wildcats with Goldie Hawn. He played a lot of things. He did a lot of the game shows. So when I saw that my career was somewhat following in his trajectory, I was like, wait a minute. I was onto something before I even knew that I was onto something. So yeah, Nipsey Russell. I loved Kadeem Hardison from A Different World. Always thought that he was a great actor. Actors that were pretty much kind of like me, that sort of looked like me at the time, those were the ones that I found a lot of more favor with. A lot of female actors too. Jasmine Guy was one of I like character actors for the most part. And I've often thought that Jasmine Guy was underrated, but because she just took on this character, and that's what I was more drawn to when I started acting, is characters, something that's totally outside of myself. So she was one of my favorite actresses growing up, and plus I watched her on A Different World a lot. Let me try Gary one more time. Let's see here. All right. But as far as having a favorite actor, that's never been my thing. I've always just liked actors all together. There's not like a show that I just have to watch because I just love this actor. I've never been that type of person. I just happen to like entertainers and actors as a whole, period. So it's always hard for me to answer that question because I can never just pinpoint a particular person that I just really like. Because I like so many things about people. Okay, so what we're going to do is, because I really want Gary's beautiful face on here, I'm going to end this one and we're going to start another one because I want this, the whole point of this is to have my good friend Gary interview me, and I just don't want to have to go this way. So let me see if I can get him on one last time here. Okay, so he's not even on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this one, guys, and then we're going to start a new one, and hopefully we'll have no issues with Gary. So guys, please join us back, and thank you so much, and sorry for the technicalities, but it's Instagram, it's the world we live in, it's what it is. All right, guys, please come back to us, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye.